Evolving cybersecurity landscape here in ANZ. How are companies safeguarding themselves in the cloud and online? What are the latest threats they're facing? Well, let's find out. For more, I'm joined by Adrian, Senior Director Systems Engineering, APJ at Proofpoint. Wonderful to have you with me. What are the latest threats that businesses are now facing? I feel like I still get a text message telling me I've got a parcel.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, we still continue to see cyber threats grow across Australia and New Zealand, and the Office of Australian Information Commissioner highlighted in their recent report, I guess, the same thing that we're seeing here at Proofpoint, which is we continue to see cyber threats, both malicious in terms of things like ransomware, phishing, credential compromise grow. In fact, the last 6 months saw the highest numbers of data breaches reported to the OAAC over that period compared to the last 4 or 5 years. In addition to that, where we see bad guys trying to attack, we also see this aspect that's growing around humans being part of the risk when it comes to accidentally releasing email.
So I'm curious to know what cutting-edge technologies are being implemented to enhance this security, and I suppose we can also touch on a bit more about that human element you just mentioned there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both really quite interlinked. And the reason that we've often had trouble combating cybercriminals is we simply haven't had enough people to be able to help us. A lot of the tasks that criminals are so good at is targeting humans, and it's been really difficult for us to have humans to be able to help defend. So we've tried to attack that by doing things like education, but the real game changer that's been able to help us here is the advent of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so here at Proofpoint, where we scan billions of emails a day, where we look at websites, where we inspect traffic, we've been able to really turn this AI into something that allows us as a force multiplier to look for threats, try and glean what attackers are trying to do, and be able to put responses in place that we're able to act out. And that really allows us to take it an extra step forward and be able to protect our customers and the populace as a whole.
Okay, so Adrian, you mentioned a couple of interesting points there. What's Proofpoint doing beyond this to help businesses enhance that security, if we can go into a bit more detail?
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that we often see as a number one threat is what we call business email compromise. And business email compromise is one of those emails, and you kind of gave an example of it there, where it's not malware, it's not some fancy code that's been hacked in a nefarious country. It's actually a well-crafted email and a well-crafted set of processes that attackers use to be able to get money out of organizations. And again, because it's so human-focused, the problem is that it often looks like a normal email.
Yes, and sometimes with the branding as well, I see.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so being able to, inspect every one of those with your eyes is obviously impossible. We see billions of those a day. Being able to leverage machine learning in our Nexus platform allows us to be able to actually glean what the intent of those emails are, be able to put together a lot more factors around what that email looks like, and be able to then make a decision of whether that email is good or bad. And that really helps us, and it helps us across a number of other aspects as well. When you mentioned human-centric being an important part, how do I know, Mike, that you're not accidentally sending an email out to the wrong person?
That sounds like something I would do, yeah.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be alone, actually. And 1 in 3 data breaches reported to the OAIC this year was actually around a person accidentally sending information out as an accidental loss rather than a cyber attack.
Okay, Adrian, I'm curious to know a little bit more about Proofpoint's new platform capabilities that were announced at a recent Protect conference over in New York. Tell us a little bit more about that. That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Over in New York, we announced a number of capabilities, and a lot of that revolves around the human-centric aspect of our defense. So, as I mentioned before, humans are at the center of a lot of what goes on. And when it comes to things like malicious attacks being successful, people have to click on a link, they have to open an attachment, etc. And also, like I said before, people sending stuff out. So being able to leverage machine learning in terms of looking for bad attacks, where we released our Nexus platform, and also our Zen platform, which actually works at the user end to be able to spot things where users maybe accidentally do things that they shouldn't do, or are tricked into doing something by an attacker. And that allows us to be able to center the defense on a human rather than simply technical feeds and technical aspects. And that's what is really a game changer, because we start looking at cyber risk from a human angle, allows us to be able to respond a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's again, as you say, you're looking at it from that human angle is such a great way to do it. I think we'd get so bogged down in the technical aspects of all of this. But Adrian, just to finish for me, I did want to touch on your partnership with CyberArk. Take us through a little bit about that just to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. So CyberArk is a leader in what we call privileged access management. And again, they, just like us, concentrate a lot on the identity and the human aspect. And what we've been able to do is take their framework, which is their secure browser, and be able to add our threat telemetry to it in the form of a browser plugin. So when those privileged users and those really important tasks that CyberArk is able to protect users around, we're able to then add threat telemetry, so that what happens there is that if an attacker tries to attack a session in that way, our tool will be able to inform users and block any of those threats.
Okay, so a bit of a tag team situation there when it comes to defense.
Absolutely. We like the